ದೋಸೆಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಹೋಟ್ಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಲ್ಲ.
ನಾವು ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ದೋಸೆಗೋಸ್ಕರವೇ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ವಿ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಟೇಯಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಉಡುಪಿ and from there we've driven about 40 kilometers just to taste Mr. Holla's famous masala dosa. And now some tuppa. Now goes the masale. ಮೇಲೆಗಡೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬಟರ್. First fold, the second fold onto the plate. That dosa bites like a crisp, buttery cracker. Very rarely do I do this. After polishing off an entire dosa, head back for the second in the span of a few minutes. But this certainly is a dosa that's deserving of that respect. ಬಹಳ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಯಿತು ನನಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಮ್ಮದು ದೋಸೆ ತಿಂದು ಕೂಡ. Namaskara folks, this is Kripal Amanna, gourmet on the road, and you're watching Food Lovers TV. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe and strong. We just departed from Udupi and we are on NH66 headed towards a place called Halady. We've been told that the benne Dosae to try in this parts is the one that is made at Guru Canteen in Halady. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon and the place opens at 3 p.m. I'm told it gets quite busy towards the later part of the evening, so we thought we'd try and make sure we're the first customers there. It's a long way to drive for a dosa, I know, but I'm hoping to taste something delicious at the end of it all. So stick around till the end of this episode to know what the Sri Guru Benne Masala Dosa in Halady is all about. It's also a great route to drive on. So we are now about 14 kilometers from Halady. But you're driving through forests, through rivers, through tanks, through fields. So it also makes for a very scenic drive. Well, here we are at Guru Canteen in Halady. Namaskara. ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರು ಸರ್?
ಸುಬ್ರಹ್ಮಣ್ಯ ಹೊಳ್ಳ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ.
ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಸುಬ್ರಹ್ಮಣ್ಯ ಹೊಳ್ಳ.
ತುಂಬಾ ಸಮಯದಿಂದ ನೀವು ಬರ್ತೀರಿ ಅಂತ ಎಣಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಿತ್ತು.
ಫ್ಯಾಂಟಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್. ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ನಮ್ದು ವಿಡಿಯೋ?
ವಿಡಿಯೋ ನೋಡಿದೆ. ತಮ್ಮನ ಹೋಟ್ಲಿದ್ದು ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೇನೆ.
ಸೊ ತಮ್ಮ ಅಂದ್ರೆ
ನನ್ನ ಚಿಕ್ಕಪ್ಪನ ಮಗ, ಅವನು ಬೀರೂರು.
ಓ, ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಕ್ಯಾಂಟೀನ್. ಪ್ರಕಾಶ್ ಹೊಳ್ಳ. ಓ, ಫ್ಯಾಂಟಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್. ಸೊ ಇದು ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ನಿಮ್ದು?
ಹೌದು, ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ.
ಮಿಸಸ್ ಹೊಳ್ಳ ಅಂಡ್ ಯೋರ್ ನೇಮ್ ಇಸ್? ಸೊ ಆಲ್ ತ್ರೀ ಆಫ್ ಯು ವರ್ಕ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್?
ನಾವೇ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಬ್ಬರು ಕೆಲಸದವರು, ನಾವೇ 3 ಜನ. ನಾವು 3 ಗಂಟೆಯಿಂದ 7:30ವರೆಗೆ. ನಾವು 2 ಐಟಮ್, ದೋಸೆ ಐಟಮ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ರವಡೆ.
ಫ್ಯಾಂಟಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್. ನೋಡ್ಬೋದಾ ಸರ್ ನಿಮ್ದು ದೋಸೆ ಎಲ್ಲ? ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಸರ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು?
ಹಾಲಡಿ ಮಾಡಿ 24 ವರ್ಷ ಆಯ್ತು. ಅದ್ರ ಮುಂಚೆ ಬಿದ್ಕಲ್ಗಟ್ಟೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ. 24 ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ 19.
ಸೊ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 43 years ಆಯ್ತು ದೋಸೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ. ಫ್ಯಾಂಟಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್. ದ್ಯಾಟ್ಸ್ ದ ದೋಸೆ ದಟ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಟೇಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್. ದ್ಯಾಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಸೋ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲರ್, ಸೋ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್.
ಇದು ದೋಸೆ ಪಲ್ಯ. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪಲ್ಯನ ತಂದಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು.
ಓಕೆ.
ತಂದಿಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತದಲ್ಲ, ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಲ್ಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ಆ ನಂತರ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ತಂದಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ರಾತ್ರಿ ಅಕ್ಕಿ ನೆನೆಸಿ ಹೋಗ್ತೇವೆ. ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ 10 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ 10:30 ಅಂದಾಜಿಗೆ ನಾವು ರುಬ್ಬಿ ಬಿಡ್ತೇವೆ ಅದನ್ನ. 12 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಉಪ್ಪು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಬೇಕೋ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕಿ ಕಲಸಿ ಇಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಹಿಟ್ಟು ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅಕ್ಕಿ, ಉದ್ದಿನ ಬೇಳೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮೆಂತೆ, ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟೇಜ್ ಮೈದಾ. ಚೂರು ಅಂಟು ಬರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಮಸಾಲೆ ದೋಸೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಸೊ ನೀವು ದೋಸೆ ಲೈನಲ್ಲಿ 40 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯ್ತು.
ನಾವು ಆವಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ತರ ಫೇಮಸ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಹಳ್ಳಿ ಹೋಟ್ಲವರಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ ನಂತರ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆ ದೋಸೆ ಅದು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯ್ತು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ ನಂತರ ಒಂದು 4-5 ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ, ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಮೇಲೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯ್ತು. ಈಗ ನಂಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಗಿರಾಕಿನೇ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಉಂಟು. ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಮಂಗಳೂರಿನವ್ರು ಬಂದಿದ್ರು, ಬಂಟ್ವಾಳದವರು, ಈಚೆಗೆ ಚಿಕ್ಕಮಗಳೂರು, ಶಿವಮೊಗ್ಗ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾರ್ಕಳದವರು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೋಸೆಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೇನು ಹೋಟ್ಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಲ್ಲ.
ನಾವು ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ದೋಸೆಗೋಸ್ಕರವೇ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ವಿ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಟೇಯಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಉಡುಪಿ and from there we've driven about 40 kilometers just to taste Mr. Holla's famous masala dosa. ಇದು ಮಸಾಲೆ
ಕೊಬ್ಬರಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೆಣಸು ಹಾಕಿ ಬೆಳ್ಳುಳ್ಳಿ ಹಾಕಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು. ಇದು ಎಣ್ಣೆ, ಇದು ತುಪ್ಪ, ಇದು ಕೊಬ್ಬರಿ ಎಣ್ಣೆ.
ಇದು ನಿಮ್ದು ರವೆ ವಡೆ.
ಕೊತ್ತಂಬರಿ ಸೊಪ್ಪು, ರವೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಶುಂಠಿ, ಹಸಿಮೆಣಸು, ನೀರುಳ್ಳಿ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೆಳ್ಳುಳ್ಳಿ ಹಾಕೋದಿಲ್ಲ.
We've spoken to Mr. Holla. I think time to watch the dosa being made. That is the sizzle of the hunchu. Fantastic. And now some tuppa.
ಇದು 3 ಚಮಚ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ.
ಈಗ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆ.
ಈ ತರ ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ.
And now Mr. Holla is working on spreading the oil, the ghee, the tuppa and the benne into that dosa, and that dosa is sizzling away. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. now goes the masale. ದೋಸೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಮಸಾಲೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಮಸಾಲೆ ದೋಸೆ ಅಲ್ಲ,
ಇದು ಪರಿಮಳ ಅಲ್ಲ,
ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಪರಿಮಳ. So that is the masale that they refer to. That potato is the palya. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ದೋಸೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಫುಲ್ ಫ್ಲೇವರ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಮಸಾಲೆದು.
ನಾವು 20 ನಿಮಿಷ ಟೈಮ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತೇವೆ ದೋಸೆಗೆ. 5 ಗಂಟೆ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಕೊಡೋಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ.
So he says when you come here, especially after 5, you got to wait 20 minutes for a dosa, because he doesn't do shortcuts. He allows for that dosa to absorb all the enne, the tuppa and the benne, and then finally that masala. He is working that masala quite diligently into that dosa. And now goes the palya. Oh, ಮೇಲೆಗಡೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ butter. I love the manner in which that dosa has come together. First fold, the second fold, and then onto the plate. There's a dollop of butter too. That benne is sliding off that dosa thanks to the heat of that dosa. We just got our shots, and of course the benne has melted a little more, but I can't wait to dig into this dosa. You know what I love is Mr. Holla's enthusiasm and precision when he's making that dosa. From the quick ladling of the batter onto the tawa, to the first pour of the oil, and then followed by the tuppa, 3 servings of the tuppa, and then that benne. And he massages that into the dosa, and only then goes in the masale. And he waits for that masale to roast a bit, and then he smears it all over, ensuring that every bit of that dosa has latched onto that masale, and then goes that palya. He truly is an artist at work. And on that note, enough poetry. Let's get to the dosa. I don't think I've ever used that term, but that dosa is almost molten. That dosa is crunchy. I'm biting into the soft creaminess of the palya. And then of course, loads of the benne, loads of the butter. That dosa is very fragile. You can see the manner in which it tears away. So good. I think I need to sit down and have a conversation with this dosa. I want to now taste that dosa just by itself. There's that whisper of a crunch, and on the inside that dosa is quite soft, very buttery and tuppa laden to say the least. You can see some coriander in there, the sasve, plenty of onion that goes into that palya. Palya is creamy, but that potato hasn't been mashed completely. That is delicious. That dosa bites like a crisp, buttery cracker. That's the texture of that dosa. You know, when people tell you, well, I don't mind driving 40 kilometers to the middle of nowhere just to taste a dosa, well, you know it should be a dosa worth something. I think what also makes this dosa special is the spectacular concentration of Mr. Holla just on making the masala dosa and the rave vade. And that too, he opens only in the evening. He spends the rest of the day getting things ready. Grinding the rice, grinding the uddu, bringing it together, mixing it with the salt, a little bit of the mente, etc. And that's his entire focus. And now that my palate is getting past the butter and the tuppa, I'm also tasting the warmth of the masala. The pungent warmth of the masala is further heightened by the garlic that goes into this. ಸೋ ಗುಡ್ ಸರ್. ನಿಮ್ಮದು ದೋಸೆ ಸೂಪರ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದೇ ನಿಮ್ಮದು ದೋಸೆನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಪಿ ಇದೆ, ಒಳಗೆ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಬರೀ ದೋಸೆ ತಿಂದರೆ ಅದು ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಪಿ ಒಂದು ಬಟರ್ ಬಿಸ್ಕೆಟ್ ಥರ, ಆ ಥರ ಕ್ರಂಚ್ ಇದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಪಲ್ಯ ಕೂಡ ಭಾಳ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ.
ಆಲೂಗಡ್ಡೆ 8 ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ನೀರುಳ್ಳಿನೂ 8, ಆಲೂಗಡ್ಡೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ 10 ನೀರುಳ್ಳಿ.
So that's the reason why, along with plenty of the potato, you're also biting into plenty of the crunch of the onion. So ಇದು ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ದೋಸೆ ನೀವು 30 ವರ್ಷ ಹಿಂದೆ ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಹಿಟ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೇ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಬೆಣ್ಣೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಮೊದಲು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮೇಲಿಂದ ಹಾಕಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಿದ್ದಿತ್ತು, ತುಪ್ಪ ಮಾತ್ರ ದೋಸೆಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಈಗ ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬೆಣ್ಣೆನೂ ಮತ್ತು ತುಪ್ಪನ ಎರಡೂ ದೋಸೆಗೆ ಹಾಕಿ ರೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆ ನಂತರ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆ ಹಾಕಿ ಕೊಡೋದು. ನಾವು ಅದು ಹಾಕಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಪಲ್ಯ ಇಟ್ಟರು ಕೂಡಲೇ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆ ಹಾಕತ್ತಾ, ಆ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಪಲ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಇಳಿತದೆ.
That's right. That butter seeps through that palya.
ಆವಾಗ ಅದರ ಸ್ಮೆಲ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ತಿನ್ನೋರಿಗೆ. ಪಾರ್ಸೆಲಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆ ಹಾಕೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ರೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹಾಕ್ತೇವೆ. ಪಾರ್ಸೆಲಿ ಪಲ್ಯದ ಮೇಲೆ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆ ಹಾಕೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ತುಪ್ಪ ಹಾಕ್ತೇವೆ.
ಫ್ಯಾಂಟಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್. ನನಗೆ ಇದು ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಯಿತು. ಬಹುಶಃ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡೋಣ. Very rarely do I return for a second dosa, and usually I return after a few weeks, months, maybe years. But here I'm returning just after a few minutes. That's the allure of this dosa. The 3 spoons of tuppa. Iದೇನು ತುಪ್ಪ ಸರ್? ನಂದಿನಿಯ?
ನಂದಿನಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ನಂದಿನಿ. ನಾವು ದೋಸೆ ಹಾಕಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಎಳಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದಲ್ಲ,
ಎಳಿಬೇಕು.
ಹೀಗೆ.
You also have the ability to pull that dosa away and form that round, and that's where that maida helps, I think, with its stretchability of the batter. And it's only a little bit, just a fraction of a percentage that goes in. ಇದು ಅಕ್ಕಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಉದ್ದು ಎಷ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ಮದು ರೇಷಿಯೋ?
ನಾವು ಅಕ್ಕಿ ನೋಡಿ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಉದ್ದು ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್. 4ಗೆ 1 ಬೀಳ್ತದೆ.
4ಗೆ 1 ಬೀಳುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ 4 ಅಕ್ಕಿ ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದು. ಪೋಹ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕ್ತೀರಾ? ಅವಲಕ್ಕಿ
ಉದ್ದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಅವಲಕ್ಕಿ ಹಾಕುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಕೆಲವು ಸಲ ವೈಶಾಖದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಆವಾಗ ನಾವು ಒಂಚೂರು ಅವಲಕ್ಕಿ ಹಾಕೋದು.
I love the manner in which that butter, ಎಣ್ಣೆ and ghee is frothing away, and of course now that masala has gone into it.
ಅದು ಈ ತುಪ್ಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಯ್ತದಲ್ಲ, ತುಂಬ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸ್ಮೆಲ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಜನ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ.
ಕಡಕ್ಕಿದೆ. Combination of that ಬೆಳ್ಳುಳ್ಳಿ and the ಮೆಣಸಿನಕಾಯಿ, I can certainly feel that pungent warmth. But I think what happens is, because of all the butter and the tuppa, the spicy tone of that masala gets mellowed to a certain extent. Some more masala. I think it's time to chase that dosa and taste our second benne masala dosa here at Sri Guru Canteen. Hello, how are you? Namaskara, namaskara. Are you regulars here?
We are from Bangalore.
You're from Bangalore?
Yeah.
Have you come here before?
No, this is my first.
First time?
Yeah.
So what is the verdict?
Really good.
What are your names?
Sushmita and Abhishek.
Well, if people come seeking that dosa all the way from Bengaluru, like Supreet and Abhishek have, well, it tells you something of the reputation of this dosa. I got a sliver of the chili, plenty of onions in this. Very rarely do I do this. After polishing off an entire dosa, head back for the second in the span of a few minutes. But this certainly is a dosa that's deserving of that respect. There's also plenty of onions that goes into that palya.
Exactly.
That also makes it very tasty.
Vade is also really good.
The vade is also really good?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm going to be tasting next. That whisper of a crunch of that dosa, along with the potatoes, the soft bite of the onions, and the flavor of that masala. So initially when you taste this dosa, because the masala is almost blended into the color of the dosa, you don't register it so much. And also with the gush of the butter and the tuppa. But once your palate gets used to that butter and the ghee, that's when you start registering the nuances of that masala. And the combination of the bellulli and the byadgi mensankai that deliver a kick of a punch. But because it combines with the butter and the tuppa, it is mellowed to a certain extent. The crunch. It's a dosa that goes crunch from the beginning to the end. It's a warm afternoon here in Halady, and as you can see, I'm sweating away, but that's not taking away in the least my enjoyment of this very special Guru Canteen benne masala dosa. I think next I'm going to get one of the rava vade. Thank you, Ganesh. Well, I went in to get this rave vade, and Mr. Holla says, I want you to taste the benne khali also, and this time with some tengin enne, with the coconut oil. I have skipped lunch for all the right reasons, but I have a feeling after this visit here, I may have to skip dinner as well. Plenty of onions that are studded into that, along with some green chili there. The first flavor that's registered on my palate is a subtle sweetness. I don't know if that comes from the onions only, or does it also include a bit of sugar?
Sweet ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವೀಟ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ
So ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಹಾಕ್ತೀರಾ?
ಸೌತ್ ಕೇಂದ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸ್ವೀಟ್ ಬೇಕು,
Sweet ಬೇಕು.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗೋಳಿ ಬಜೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಸ್ವೀಟ್ ಬೇಕು.
So apparently people out here want a little bit of sweetness in their rave vade. I think I want to taste some of that chili in that rave vade just to offset that touch of sweetness. Not objectionable, but just that I didn't expect it on my palate when I bit into that rave vade. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜೀರಿಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ತೀರಾ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ? I can also taste the flavor of some cumin in that rave vade. Where the rave vade has a role to play is that when you come here and let's say you savor one of these benne masala dosa, you have some space in your tummy, but not so much to be greedy like me and have the second dosa. Well, that's where something like the rave vade comes into play. It also takes away to a certain extent some of that buttery lusciousness of that masala dosa, because after all the rave vade is quite gritty in its texture, and somewhere I think as it goes down into your tummy, it perhaps scrubs away some of the indulgences of the tuppa and the butter. First ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಇದು ಲೋಕಲ್ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಆಯಿಲ್,
ಇದು ಏಕದಂತ,
ಸೊ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆ ಇಲ್ಲ,
ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇದು 2 ದೋಸೆಗೆ 30 rupees. ಇದು ಚಟ್ನಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ದೋಸೆ ಮಾತ್ರ.
Fantastic. So if you want something light, you have the khali dosa.
ಖಾಲಿ
So the khali dosa is made with the coconut oil. Masala ಇದೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇದಕ್ಕೇನಿಲ್ಲ.
So there is no masala, just served to you with the chutney. So ಇದರ ಕಲರ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೇರೆ, ಅಷ್ಟು ಬ್ರೌನ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ.
ಬ್ರೌನ್ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಲರ್ ಚೇಂಜ್.
So ಇದು ದೋಸೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪಾಪ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. That dosa is quite translucent. You can see that kyle through that dosa. That's how transparent it is. ಬಹಳ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಯಿತು ನನಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮದು ದೋಸೆ ತಿಂದು ಕೂಡ.
ನೀವು ಬಂದು ಭಯಂಕರ ಖುಷಿ ಆಯ್ತು. ಯಾವಾಗಂತ 8 ಗಂಟೆ ಇದ್ದೆ, ನೀವು ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವರು ಶಂಗಾಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ರು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನವರು. ಅವರು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ರು.
ನನಗೆ ಸುಮಾರು ಜನರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು. ವೆಲ್, ಟುಡೇ ವಾಸ್ ಆರ್ ಟರ್ನ್ ಟು ಮೀಟ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಹೊಳ್ಳ.
ನಿಮಗೆ ಬನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್
ಒಂದು ಬನ್ಸ್ ಟೇಸ್ಟ್ ನೋಡುವ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ.
ಖಂಡಿತ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಖಂಡಿತ ಬರ್ತೇನೆ ಬನ್ಸ್ ಟೇಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಬಾಳೆಹಣ್ಣೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕ್ತೀರಾ? ಫ್ಯಾಂಟಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್. ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಿ ಕಮ್ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಟು ಟೇಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ದೋಸೆ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ದ ಬನ್ಸ್.
ಈಗ ಡೈಲಿ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಚೇಂಜ್, ಆನಂತರ ಗೋಳಿ ಬಜೆ, ಬನ್ಸ್, ರವಡೆ, ಪೂರಿ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಡೈಲಿ ಇರ್ತಿತ್ತು.
ಸೊ ಇದು ಯಾವವರೆಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ?
ಈಗ ನಾವು 2 ವರ್ಷ ಆಯ್ತಾ?
2 ವರ್ಷ,
1.5 ವರ್ಷ ಆಯ್ತು.
ಬರೀ ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ?
ಈಗ ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ.
ಸೊ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ?
ಹೆಲ್ತ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ.
While I was conversing with Mr. Holla, the dosa has become cold, but doesn't matter. Interesting to learn of his background. He says, all that I know is to cook and to roast dosa for many, many years. Earlier they would operate in the morning and the evening as well, but due to some health issues, for the last year and a half, he's only operating in the afternoon. He says, well, I get enough customers who also come from outside. That keeps our business going. This is a dosa that's extremely crunchy. You can taste that tengin in that dosa. This dosa also feels a tad sweet. I don't know if there's also some a little bit of sugar that goes into the batter. I'm not sure. Idu nimdu hittunalli ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಹಾಕ್ತೀರಾ? ಹಿಟ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಹಾಕ್ತೀರಾ? So there's a bit of sugar that goes into the batter. In the benne masala dosa, you couldn't detect that because of the masala, because of the garlic, because of the chili. and loads of butter. But out here, because this dosa is quite Spartan, you can certainly detect a hint of the sweetness. And the sugar also serves to give that dosa a lovely golden brown shade. Of course, this dosa, because it doesn't have all the luxury of the tuppa and the benne, is a little papa in comparison. I'm also tasting now the voracious spice of the chutney. This is a combination of the coconut, the putani, and plenty of green chili along with some tamarind, I'm sure. Well, some busy coffee to wash away some of that butter, tuppa and tengin enne. You can certainly bite into the coffee courtesy of the 30% chicory. Well, I've certainly enjoyed this outing here in Halady at Guru Canteen. Perhaps a bit too much. I don't remember the last time I had 2 benne masala dosa back to back and followed it up with that tengin enne dosa. But such is the appeal of this dosa and also the work that goes into creating it. Mr. Subramanya Holla has been refining his art of roasting that dosa for the last 40 plus years, and it shows in every dosa that he dispenses from the hunched there. That tells you of the commitment, the passion and the sincerity with which Mr. Holla dishes out those lusciously decadent benne masala dosa. So if you're anywhere in South Kanara and want to taste a delicious dosa, definitely find your way here to Sri Guru Canteen in Halady. We've driven 40 kilometers from Udupi, but I can tell you this, that the dosa that I tasted, actually the dosas that I tasted, are well worth the drive. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Gourmet on the Road. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, stay strong, happy eating and drinking. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರೇನು ಸರ್? ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ Anantarao. Correct, regular ಬರ್ತೀರಾ. When the locals vouch for the dosa, well, you know it's a dosa that's worth exploring, because they're not the ones who come once in a while, once in a blue moon. They probably come here once in a month, once in a week perhaps to taste that dosa. If you'd like to support the work that we do at Food Lovers TV, do consider joining our membership community on YouTube by hitting the join button below or on the home page, and receive special privileges like behind the scenes footage, shoot updates, access to live Q&As and a lot more. You could support us on our Patreon page as well. For more info, check out the links in the description below. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share and leave a comment below. Happy eating.